if you've just started a clothing brand, yeah, and you're trying to get designs done, before you get a sample, please watch this video. I'm going to show you how to make a tech pack that works and make a tech pack that saves you money. That's the most important thing. You need a good tech pack that's going to save you weeks, probably even months of just back and forth with manufacturers talking about, no, I said this colour, I said that colour. You know what I mean? We're not going to have to go through that if you watch this video. So I'm going to show you now how a tech pack is supposed to look. So off the bat, it probably looks like it's a lot to look at. It looks like it's a lot, but I promise you, once you go into each of the pages, it's not a lot. You're going to be able to do this. Anyone's able to do it. The only thing I'll say is that it's going to take longer than you think it's going to take. Like this tech pack that we're looking at right now, this took me maybe like a week. But some tech packs are going to take you a lot shorter time than that. Some you might be able to do in a day or, you know, a couple hours. But you need to take your time when you're doing stuff like this. The reason I say that is because you don't want to leave anything up to the manufacturer. You want everything to be in your tech pack. Anything that's up for their, like, you know, interpretation or whatever, they're gonna cut corners because they want to save money as well. So if you're not clear about it, they're gonna try like finesse you. You know, they're gonna try use like 350 GSM instead of 400 GSM. So yeah, starting with, I don't know why it's messed up the order, but so the first page is just the general design. Now this is a mock-up, but it doesn't have to be that like good, you know what I mean? As long as the rest of the tech pack is quite clear, you can have a drawing. It doesn't have to be like a template. As long as it's, you know, clear in the message that this is what I want, that's fine. You know, I've sent them sketches before and they've sent me the sample and it's come out great. But yeah, so the first page is just what the design's going to look like front and back. That's it. And then at the top here you can kind of put all the description and stuff, but it's not too important. So that's the first page. The second page, I guess, will be this one here. So this is a bit of like a, go hand in hand with another page. So this here is like the measurements. So what I've done here is I've put them as to scale, and then with these like red arrow things, and then you kind of have to pop them down onto the next page. So when you're looking at A, for example, that means you're looking at this one here, which is basically the total length. HSP is higher shoulder point, so like from the bottom to the top, pretty much. And then yeah, you've got all like sorts of measurements, which is specifically for the garment, not for the logos or anything like that, just how the garment is going to fit. So for this, I would probably use something that you already have, a sweater that you like. People say that you can go online and find tech packs, or you can find like the measurements and stuff online, but they're not always the best. It's better to go off something that you like the fit of and something that you actually have in hand, because that way you can see exactly how it's going to fit. And if you copy that measurement, you know, like literally exactly the way it is, then you're not going to have a problem because you know what it looks like. Going off a website, because I think it's Essence or something like that, it's, you know, you can use that, but it's a bit more risky. So it's better to do a garment that you have, or if you don't have it, buy one and then return it once you got all the measurements. That's what I used to do all the time. So once you got all their measurements, then you can go on to the bill of materials, which is pretty much everything that you're going to need to make the sample. So for me, for example, I said I need an 8 gauge acrylic knit, and then all of the details, so like an embroidered logo, ribbed collar, like all of the details that you think you need to add, that you think they might mess up, add those, because you don't want to leave anything on the table for them to like make up, because they're just going to mess it up. So yeah, that's for everything they're going to need. So yeah, you need to put everything on there. Some might be more in depth than others. Some might just be a t-shirt. Some might literally just be 200 GSM cotton, and then like the artwork, or you know, like embroidery or something like that, and that's probably it. So yeah, that will be the other page, and then to be fair, the order doesn't really matter, but the colours are where you put them here. So for me, I've just put black and white because that's what the sample was. But if you want to use a Pantone colour, which is what everyone uses, is like the universal way that they use colours, pretty much. So I'll try find. So you want to find something that's like a hex to Pantone. If you go to this website here, codebeautify.org, you can put in a colour, and it would change it to the closest Pantone colour that they can find for you, and then you can pick from there, and then you can whack it in as a square and put Pantone code blah blah blah, and there you go. For me, it was quite simple. I just had black and white, but yeah, you might have like 7 different colours, but you have to make sure to put the Pantone on there, because if you haven't put the Pantone on there and it's a different colour from what you wanted, you can't really complain because you're not putting enough detail in. Like, I'm going to keep stressing the fact that if you get the tech pack right, you're not going to have to spend money and time later on. In a way, it's just delayed gratification. You know, the time that you're spending now, the hours that you're putting in now, is going to pay off, because you're not going to have to make another sample. If you get this sample right, there's going to be 1 or 2 improvements that you got to make, and then they can just do that for the bulk, and then, you know, money saved, and you might be able to get the sample refunded from the bulk, because that's what some manufacturers do as well. So now that's the colours done, you want to show them the logos. So I don't know why this logo isn't coming up. So the other logo was literally just this one here, but we keep going on the back. And you want to put all the logos that you're going to use, or all the artwork that you're going to use, into this page here, and make sure you measure it. I think don't just eyeball it, because you might end up with a logo that's too big and it looks a bit tacky. So my suggestion, if you're dealing with just small embroidery, if you've got a printer, print the logo out in like real life scale. So on the computer, it needs to be real life scale. You need to measure it and say, okay, it's going to be 3 by 5 centimeters. You're going to print that out, cut it out and whatnot, put it on the garment that you used to measure before, put it on there and say, okay, that fits, or, you know, that looks a bit too small, or it's a bit too big. then you can adjust. It's a bit tedious, but like I said again, if you get the tech pack right, you won't have to make another sample. So yeah, make sure you're measuring the logos, and if it's a big graphic, you could probably just do like bits of A4 paper, so obviously split it between 2 or 4 pages, and then whack it on the back of a t-shirt if that's what you're doing, and just measure it out to see how you want it. You don't want to leave shit like this up to the manufacturer, because they're going to do you dirty if they can. So, you know, it's a business, everyone wants to save money. So once the logos are done, you've got numerous pages for artwork. So for me, this was the sample that I made. So I needed stripes across the front and back. So I literally had to put the width of each stripe and then the gap between them. Like, this seems like it's hella, like, you know, tedious and like a bit extra, but that's what you gotta do, because if you don't put that, they're gonna make your fucking stripes look like a zigzag, bro. So you need to really make sure that everything is accounted for. So you need to like quadruple check this shit when you think you're finished. There's something else you can add. So I even put the gap between the stripe to the whole of to the highest point of the garment. So from the first stripe to the top of the garment, just so there's nothing on the table. And I'm pretty sure I did leave the gap between the logo and the stripe, but I won't show you that. So that's the artwork, and then you want the call outs. This can come before, to be fair. This can come after the first page. So you kind of want to show them the important details that you care about. So I've used like this kind of label thing. So I've got about how many? 6? Yeah. So obviously the logos to the stripes and the cuff and the hem and the actual knit of the garment as well. So it's pretty much like highlighting the bill of materials. It's kind of just like a bit more in detail. So, and then after that you've got the labels, tags and packaging. This is kind of where you can set yourself apart, in my opinion. If your clothing doesn't have a tag on it, it's gonna be a bit like blank. It's just gonna be a bit bare. So don't be afraid to spend time on it, because a good tag can separate you from a lot of brands. I think a lot of brands neglect the tag game because they don't think it's important. But when the customer sees the tag, because no one else is going to see that apart from, me and the customer, because they bought it. So when they see that, they're going to think, oh, okay, this guy really cares about the design, because why would you if not? Like, spending extra money on a tag that no one's going to see, it seems a bit stupid, but it seems like you care a lot more about the craftsmanship, and you don't want to rush anything. So a good tag will take you far, in my opinion. I think my tag game has come a long way from where it just had my brand name and that was it. So yeah, spice it up a little bit. Look at different brands. Cortez have good tags. There's like a brand called Osh as well. I don't know if that's the name, but he's got crazy tag game. So yeah, invest in the tags and put the measurements as well, so they know how it's going to be, placed on the garment. One thing I didn't add is how that it's going to be stitched on, because you can either have it stitched on here on the top or on both sides like this. So since it's a long one, I've had it stitched on both sides like this, which would make more sense. And then obviously you have the size, so like the M would be here. That's something else that I would add that I didn't add here, to be fair. So yeah, that would be the neck label for this sample. And now that is the sample pretty much done. Like I said, it's not a lot. It seems intimidating from afar, but it's just one of them things where if you're serious about, making clothing and not just making money and just making clothes that people genuinely want to wear, then a tech pack is the first milestone that you gotta go past. Because I've done like so many samples without a tech pack, and I've wondered like why are they fucking my shit up? Like it feels like they're doing it on purpose, when in reality it was me, because I'm not putting enough detail in. I'm not giving them all the information they need. So yeah, the tech pack is the key. Like, if that's one thing that I'm gonna tell you about a clothing brand, that's the one thing you need to know. Because you're saving so many months of communication with a manufacturer in a different time zone, that they're asleep when you're awake, and vice versa. So it's hard to get reach of them. So yeah, when you're asleep, they're gonna look at the tech pack and go, okay, he wants that, let's not bother him, because he knows what he wants. You don't necessarily need this template. You can make this yourself. You don't need this whole kind of shebang, but as long as you have the important details that you want, that's all that matters. That's been my tech pack video. And if you're someone who's quite passionate about design, wants to improve, get better, I've got a Discord link in the description that you can join. It's not like a profit thing. I'm not trying to make money. I'm trying to make a community of people that want to get better and share each other's ideas, because I feel like designers nowadays are a bit like gatekeepy, and everyone kind of wants to source for themselves. And I'm gonna try and make sharing cool again, because it's gone too far, man. We need the community back. So yeah, if you're interested, join the Discord, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed.